Om Sagana Bhuvatu Sagana Vavatu Sagana Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadasiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudirayete. This is 1 second.
Hari Om, Dr. Mara. Yesterday till page 336 we read.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
So Shloka 56.
1 second. Sloka 56. Okay.
Yes, dear. That was to be started. I did not. I completed the reading for Shloka 55.
Okay. Where is this page? I'm trying to share my screen. I'm sharing the screen, right?
Yeah, your screen is seen. It is there on the desktop only. This one. You have highlighted also PDF, the first one only on the left.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to find my PDF. It's so hard to find it. 1 second, okay, hold on.
If you can read, I can share the screen, Dr. Mara. You want me to share the screen?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I will. You can read, no?
Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah. Just give me 2 minutes. Huh? Is it okay? Are you able to see, Dr. Mara? Hari Om.
I am seeing it now. I was muted, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. You are able to see, no? You can read the previous paragraph
Yeah.
of
Okay,
this Shloka
sure.
56.
55, right?
55 we finished. 56.
Finished, okay, 56, right? Okay, I'll do that.
So the last two paragraphs you can read just to
Okay, I'll do that.
the train of thought can be.
Okay, and what is Bhagavan? The essential form of Bhagavan is Sat Chit Ananda. The essential form of Bhagavan is Satchit Ananda, and the expressed form of Ananda, Ishvara, the Lord, is love. The modifications of this love can be either positive or negative. Sympathy and compassion are examples of positive modifications of love, whereas negative modifications are anger, greed, jealousy, and so on. all that is there, all that is, there is one Ananda, expressed or unexpressed. Unexpressed, it is the Swarupa, the very nature of fullness, which is the definition of Ananda. Expressed, it becomes love, prema. We shall see more of this definition later. Here, the Sthita Prajna is one who discovers the Ananda in himself or herself and knows that there is nothing other than oneself. When one says, I am the whole, it means that the person is himself or herself, the fulfillment of all desires. We shall see as we proceed how the discovery of oneself and the fulfillment of all desires are not separate but identical. So the Sita Prajna, one more time I'll read that one paragraph. The Sita Prajna is the one who discovers the Ananda in himself or herself and knows that there is nothing other than oneself. When one says, I am the whole, it means the person is himself or herself, the fulfillment of all desires. We shall see as we proceed how the discovery of oneself and the fulfillment of all desires are not separate but identical. How sweet this is, right? Discovery of oneself and fulfillment of all desires are not separate but identical. Very nice. Yeah. If you want to move forward.
Yeah, we did not do Manana if someone, I mean, if it is
Oh, you didn't do Manana on this?
for this last few, I think one
Two
or two.
paragraphs?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So the Bhagavan, we say there's no form and name and rupa, but then the essential form here, they say, is Satchit Ananda. The nature of Bhagavan is Satchit Ananda. So he is expressed form and unexpressed form. The expressed form of the Ananda is the love and compassion, whereas the unexpressed form of that is the Swarupa, the very nature of the fullness, like which is this feeling of that fullness, that you are happy yourself. Once you realize yourself, that is the completeness, that you feel purna. That is Ananda, that becomes expressed as love. The Sita Prajna is one who discovers Ananda himself or herself, um, and then that uh, he's happy as well as that all the desires being fulfilled. They're kind of one and the same. They're not different. So he, first of all, they may have desires, but it goes away from your mind because you are feeling full, complete. Anyone go ahead and share your thoughts also, please. Do you remember the Bhagavan, what the six qualities for virtues for the Bhagavan is? Bhagavan. Uh, Power, Aishwarya, wealth, power, wealth, Shreya, she is the wealth, power, and Yashas, like fame, overlordship, which is the Aishwarya, uh, Fame is overlordship, power. Veera, right? Hmm. But you remember the sloka, Doctor? I mean, Bala, the, for Bhagavan, Dr.
I
Brahmanand.
think you said all the characteristics
I
there.
said five of them: fame, power,
Yeah, Virita,
beauty,
Virya, yeah,
Virya,
Shaurya.
Shaurya. Anyway, absolute knowledge, absolute. Everything is absolute. We read. Okay. Dukkeshu. Okay. Dukkeshanudvignamanaha. Sukeshu viktaspiraha. Vitaragabhayakrodha. Sitadir muniruchyate. Dukkeshu, in adversities, anudviktamanaha, not affected. Anudviktamanaha is not affected. Sukeshu, in pleasures, vigataspiraha, one who is without yearning. Vitaraga bhaya krodaka, one who is free from longing, fear, and anger. Munihi, the wise person. Sitadihi, one whose knowledge remains. Uchyate is said. Dukkeshu anutvignamanah, sukeshu vigataspruhaha, vitaraha bhayakrodha, munuhi stitadihi uchyate. The one who is not affected by adversities, one who is without yearning for pleasures, and is free from longing, fear, and anger, is said to be wise person whose knowledge remains. So I'll read this again. The one who is not affected by adversities, who is without yearning for pleasures, and is free from longing, fear, and anger, is said to be wise person whose knowledge remains. Okay, Arjuna's question, as we have seen, was answered completely in the previous verse. Arjuna's question, as we have seen, was answered completely in the previous verse. Being awake to yourself and in yourself alone, you discover your joy, your fulfillment. And you discover it by yourself, meaning through knowledge. Because, without self knowledge, you cannot discover happiness in yourself. How can you discover happiness in yourself by yourself when the self is unhappy? Generally, you are happy if your desires is fulfilled. But here you are happy with yourself without fulfilling any desire. I'll read this one more time. Arjuna's question, as we have seen, was answered completely in the previous verse. Being awake to yourself and in yourself alone, you discover your joy and your fulfillment. Your joy and your fulfillment. And you discover it by yourself, meaning through knowledge. Without self knowledge, you cannot discover happiness in yourself. How can you discover happiness in yourself by yourself when the self is unhappy? Generally, you are happy if your desire is fulfilled. But here, you are happy with yourself without fulfilling any desire. The nature of the Atma is free from any sense of limitation, and the person who is awake to this particular fact, the Sthita Prajna, is from unhappiness. As desires arise in his, her, or her mind, the person is not affected by them because of being happy with himself or herself. This then was how Krishna described the characteristics of a person of wisdom when Arjuna wanted to know how a wise person responds to the world. I'll read one more time this paragraph. The nature of the Atma is free from any sense of limitation, and the person who is awake to this particular fact, the Sita Prajna, is free from unhappiness. As desires arise in his or her mind, the person is not affected by them because of being happy with himself or herself. This then how Krishna described the characteristics of a person of wisdom when Arjuna wanted to know how a wise person responds to the world. Okay. Even though one's response to the world does not necessarily reveal how much wisdom one has, still Arjuna thought that spontaneous expressions of a wise person interacting in the world would reflect those values to be cultivated assiduously by a seeker, and would therefore serve as a handy reference. Knowing how a wise person expresses himself or herself in the world is not for judging whether a person is wise or otherwise. It is not that we have a matrix of norms indicating the exact behavior of a wise person against which everyone is measured. It is only to know what I should follow in order to be wise. What was it that the wise person followed before becoming wise that made him or her wise, and that continues as the spontaneous expression of the person? Oh, we moved away.
I'm sorry, just a minute. Give me 2 minutes, huh? I think it is my hand touched, so just a minute.
Okay. Or do you want to see? I don't know where it went.
Is it the same page, Dr. Mara?
No, this is you
This
went to
one?
the end of the page, right?
No, no, this
335.
one. Now,
Page number 336, Doctor.
Yeah, 336. Yeah, the next page.
are
284
you?
right now. This is
Uh,
284. You are on 284. We have to go further.
336. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you have to scroll. Yeah.
I'm really sorry, my because I wanted to just the page was not fitting, so I wanted to adjust the page, and in doing so, I messed up.
It's okay. Don't worry. I think we all having troubles with this. I myself could have done it. I was setting it up, but somehow it disappeared from my page. I don't know. Mm.
I'm really sorry to disturb the. I was stupid.
Yeah, another few more pages, like 20 more pages to go. So anyway, what they were saying about the Siddha Prajna, two more slokas.
I think now it has come.
So that Chitta Prajna is who is happy himself. So because he's happy himself, he whatever the pleasures doesn't affect him, or any sorrow doesn't affect him because he feels full himself. Whereas generally the desire has to be fulfilled for the person to. One second, let me see the next page. What is that showing? Definition also means, yeah, couple of more pages.
Yeah, no.
Not yet. Yeah. Yeah, 35. Next one is 36. Mm.
Here, is it okay? 336?
No, this is for one's
36,
fullness.
the end,
Next
the
one,
last,
next one.
is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
last paragraph.
Last
Yeah,
paragraph. Go,
yeah.
Oh,
go some
okay,
more, some
okay,
more. Yeah, yeah. Now it is. Yeah,
okay.
mm,
The
yeah.
screen is okay, adjust, I
Yeah,
mean,
the screen is fine. Don't worry about it. Just leave it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm not able to see the full screen that I'm asking. Okay,
Oh,
fine.
really?
If you are able to,
I can
yeah,
see
yeah,
it. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it is outspeak my. Okay,
Slightly,
no
Everyone,
problem. If you are,
everyone can see it, right?
yeah, the
Even
last
though,
paragraph is not seen. What,
yeah, that's
like,
what I
after,
wanted to adjust, but it is not.
oh,
okay,
so you
Now
scroll
is
it
it
up.
okay?
Yeah,
yeah,
yes, yeah. Scroll
yeah,
it up.
now it's
Yeah,
fine. A little bit more.
yeah.
Yeah, but
That's enough.
it's
Yeah,
fine.
pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
Even though one's response to the world does not necessarily reveal how much wisdom one has, still Arjuna thought that spontaneous expressions of a wise person interacting in the world would reflect those values to be cultivated assiduously by a seeker and would therefore serve as a handy reference. So, yes, how it would help us as a seeker. Knowing how a wise person expresses himself or herself in the world is not for judging whether a person is wise or otherwise. It is not that we have a matrix of norms indicating the exact behavior of a wise person against which everyone is measured. It is only to know what I should follow in order to be wise. What was it that the wise person followed before becoming wise that made him or her wise? And that continues as the spontaneous expression of the person. This is what Arjuna really wanted to know. Because the characteristics of Sita Prajna become the very means, the sadhanas to be followed by a mumukshu. Krishna understood this to be the spirit of Arjuna's question and answered it accordingly. So, Arjuna wants to know how the Chitta Prajna, uh, how he became Chitta Prajna. So, he said the sadhanas to be followed by Mumukshu. Go ahead. So, Bhagavan Krishna going to explain next. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay. Now I remember this. The threefold source of sorrow. Sorrow or pain, dukkha, has three sources: adhyatmika, adibhautika, and adi Okay, adhyatmika, adibhautika, and adi daivika. Adhyatmika is pain for which the source is your own body, mind, and senses from a stomach ache onwards. The second source of sorrow, adibhautika, or the situations around you, including the people and bugs that irritate you. Finally, Adi Daivika is the pain or sorrow caused by such things as earthquakes and lightning. This kind of pain is not created by your brother in law or anyone else, but is from a source that is absolutely divine, natural phenomena over which you have no control whatsoever. You may try to control mosquitoes with certain sprays that will destroy them, but there is nothing you can do to prevent an earthquake. Thus, while the source of sorrow is threefold, there are not different types of sorrow. Sorrow may express itself in 100 different ways: weeping, howling, kicking, moaning, and so on. But the sorrow itself is one and the same. The word dukkeshu in the verse is in the plural because the source of sorrow is threefold, as explained by Shankara in his commentary on this verse. And those whose minds are not affected or shaken by sorrow arising from these three sources of pain are said to be wise. So that's clear, right? So there's three sources of sorrow: Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidaivika. Even though the sources of sorrow and the way we express sorrow is so different, they are one. Sorrow is always one and the same. And whose minds are not affected by this kind of sorrow is said to be wise. So we can move on. And of course, we'll do the Manana at the end. I'm just kind of summarizing it. Bella, is it possible for you to move forward? Yeah. Because the sources of pain are always active, pain is possible for a wise person, but he or she is not affected by it. Okay? Because the sources of pain are always active, pain is possible for a wise person, but he or she is not affected by it. What then is the response of a wise person when his head aches? Will his head ache? Is the first question. Or let us start from the very beginning. Does he even have a head? Yes, and because the wise person continues to have a head, it may ache. Now, when his head aches, does he know it or not? After all, he is Satchit Ananda. Being Satchit Ananda, what happens when there is a headache? Does he recognize it? The verse indicates that he does by saying, when such pain occurs, the wise man is not affected. When anyone recognizes dukkha, there is dukkha for him. But what happens afterwards? This person is shaken by pain or sorrow, and then he becomes disturbed. Udvigna manaha. So he is getting disturbed, called Udvigna manaha. Manaha, right. Any disturbance from the three sources described above can make it a reality. The headache is there. You recognize it and then you worry about it until your whole head and everything else aches. So the headache is there, you recognize it, and then you worry about it until your whole head and everything else aches. You may even become a pain to everyone around you. You are the only one with a neck pain, but you talk so much about it and make such a fuss that your pain also becomes everyone else's pain in the neck. Oh my God. Okay. So that's about dukkha. A wise person's response to sukha. What about pleasure, sukha then? There are people who can remain quiet when dukkha comes, but jump around like a football when something pleasant happens. The word sukeshu here refers to any happy, pleasant situation, regardless of its source, which can also be described in the same threefold manner. Sukha can come from your own sensory pleasure, or from some external event, or earning for such pleasures. Sukeshu Sukeshu spruha. So sensory pleasure, some external event, or earning for such pleasure is Sukeshu spruha. But does a wise person not laugh when something funny is happening? Yes, but there is no encore once more from the person, no longing. Recognizing both pain and pleasure, he or she is not carried away by either of them. Sukeshu vigadas rukhaha, dukkeshu anudvignamanaha. This characteristic then becomes a sadhana for a mumukshu. So there is that sadhana for a mumukshu. Sukeshu vikatas praspruhaha dukkeshu anudvignamanaha. Shankara, in his commentary to this verse, gives the example of fire. If you feed the fire with more wood, it will grow even more. Anuvivartate. Okay, it will grow even more. Anuvivartate. In keeping with the fuel that has been offered, it grows to become a big conflagration. When you first light a fire, it always starts as a flame, but set one match to a tank of gasoline and you have an instant conflagration. Thus, the more the fuel, the more the fire. Unlike the fire, Shankara said, the wise person's sukha results in himself or herself, in his or her fullness. The idea here is, since there is no yearning for sukha, the person's desire do not get out of hand. Okay, that's a key point. The idea here is, since there is no yearning for sukha, the person's desire do not get out of hand. So when you have that anudvigna manaha, dukkeshu anudvigna manaha, and sukeshu vigatas spruhaha, that kind of attitude, then that yearning for desire, longing for more of happiness is not there. So it dies in there. And, fine. Krishna also said in this verse that one who is not swept away by either sukha or dukkha is free of likes, fear, and anger. Okay. Krishna also said in this verse that one who is not swept away by either sukha or dukkha is free of likes, fear, and anger. So they are not going to be afraid and don't get mad. He is Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaha. So there it is. He is Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaha. Freedom from raga implies freedom from Dvesha also. Okay. Freedom from raga and Dvesha goes together. So freedom from raga implies freedom from Dvesha also. They are a pair. When one is mentioned, the other one is automatically understood to be included. In other words, they go together. The happiness of those who are not in the hands of ragadveshas is not determined by their ragadveshas. Okay, the happiness of those who are not in the hands of ragadveshas is not determined by their ragadveshas. Their ragadveshas do not affect their being happy with themselves. The ragadveshas no longer have any teeth. They may be a baby ragadveshas or old ragadveshas, but either way they do not bite because they cannot bite. They can only be enjoyed. This is why the ragadveshas of the wise are referred to as a non-binding. They are toothless. Okay, this is why the ragadveshas of the wise are referred to as non-binding. They are toothless. You want me to read this again or you're okay? The happiness of those who are not in the hands of ragadveshas is not determined by their ragadveshas. Their ragadveshas do not affect their being happy with themselves. So that ragadveshas do not affect their being happy with themselves. The ragadveshas no longer have any teeth. They baby ragadveshas or old ragadveshas, but either way they do not bite because they cannot bite. They can only be enjoyed. This is why the ragadveshas of the wise are referred to as non-binding. They are toothless. So the non-binding desires. The absence of fear. So vitaraga, bhaya, krodha. So the next one is they don't have the fear. The absence of fear. Once raga is gone, fear also goes. So that's so nice. Once the desire is not there, the fear also goes. Once raga is gone, fear also goes. Fear exists only when desire is there. And desire is there only when raga dvesha is there. Kama indicates duality. It is due to the notion, I am this much alone, everything else is other than me, and I have to get it. Thus, there is duality, meaning that there is a difference between a jiva, the individual, and Ishvara, the Lord. Jiveshvara Beda. Jiveshvara, Ishvara Beda. Naturally, then, there will be a fear because a difference between the individual and the Lord implies duality between the individual and the world. So naturally there will be a fear because the difference between the individual and the Lord implies the duality between the individual and the world. And the duality between the individual and the world means duality between the individual and individual. Once you accept a duality between the individual and Ishvara, you will find the difference, Veda, everywhere. Can you please scroll up? Yeah, thank you. If you think that you are different from Ishvara, you will think that you are different from the world and from everyone else in the world. And in this world of duality, you are an insecure person. Okay. If you think that you are different from Ishvara, you will think that you are different from the world and from everyone else in the world. And in this world of duality, you are an insecure person. Therefore, the fear of danger from another source will always be there because the other will always be there. Fear comes from duality only. Any fear means that duality is there because you recognize the source of fear as something other than yourself. You can even be afraid of yourself if you have created a split in yourself. So you can be afraid of yourself if you created a split in yourself. There is an ideal I and an actual I. And the actual I is always frightening to the ideal I. This is also the reason why you are afraid of an insane person, provided you are sane, of course. Similarly, you may find that you are afraid of a person who is sad. There can be no fear if there is only one thing, vastu. A second thing is necessary for a fear to occur. Therefore, one who has no duality is not only free from ragadvesha, but is also free from fear. The third one is the anger also goes. Lastly, a wise person is free from anger, which is nothing. So lastly, a wise person free from anger, which is nothing, but another form of raga. So it's nothing but another form of a raga. The desire itself transformed into anger. First, the desire is in a very benign form, then it is transformed into another form, an ugly form called anger. Okay. So the desire is in the very benign form, then it is transformed into another form, an ugly form called anger. We will be seeing this later in the chapter. Kama Korodha Abhijayate. Kamat Krodaga Abhijayate. When what I want is not accomplished due to some obstruction. Sorry, when what I want is not accomplished due to some obstruction, the very karma turns into anger, whose target is the obstruction. Whatever is obstructing my desire becomes the object of my anger. Many murders take place because the object of a person's love becomes the object of his or her anger. I'll read this line again. Many murders take place because the object of person's love becomes the object of his or her anger. A man does not kill the loving woman. He kills only the obstinate, unwilling woman, and then he will cry for the loving one. Thus, when a person becomes an obstruction to your desire, that same person becomes the object of your anger. Anger is always mutilated, transformed, deflected form of karma. Therefore, if you are free of karma, desire, you will be free of krodha, anger. Duality and fear. The word bhaya, fear, was put between the words of raga and krodha because of its special significance, which is dealt with very well in the Shastra. The only way to be free of fear is by swallowing duality, and you cannot swallow duality unless there is no duality. And because there is no duality, it can be swallowed. So, you cannot swallow duality unless there is no duality. And because there is no duality, it can be swallowed, but only through knowledge. This is only way of getting rid of fear. Wherever there is duality, there is fear. Fear of mortality, fear of being put down, fear of being small, fear of not making it, and so on. So, fear can exist only as long as there is seeker sought relationship. The very relationship implying duality between the seeker and the sought, and in the final analysis, duality between oneself and the Lord. Hmm. Can we move forward, please? Any small division whatsoever is enough to cause fear. Even to say Ishvara is everything and I am part of him is enough. Okay, so a small division whatsoever enough to cause fear. Even to say Ishvara is everything and I am part of him. Even that is enough to cause the fear. In fact, upon analysis, you will find that this concept is with the very point from which everything becomes different. This difference is born out of natural lack of inquiry, avichara, or non-thinking. It is it's born out of natural lack of inquiry, avichara, or non-thinking. And if after inquiry, duality is still there, it is a tragedy because the Upanishads expect this kind of thinking or non-thinking. They address this topic They address the topic thoroughly, pointing out that as long as there is any division whatsoever, fear cannot be avoided. A Muni is a thinking person, a person of inquiry and knowledge. The of the Muni stays Sthita. That is it. That is it. Does not swing and sway. The Muni does not think duality. Dvaita. Dvaita one day and non-duality Advaita the next, just because someone has put forth a cogent argument. In fact, Dvaita is not a knowledge. It is a belief, regardless of the number of objections raised. Advaita is something you know. You may not be able to communicate it with someone else, but you know because it is yourself. It is not something you have to believe. It is a freedom from all notions. Advaita is all that is there. We have seen that the person whose knowledge stays is called a Sitaprajna, a wise person. Sannyasi is also a word to point out Jnana Nishta. Jnana Nishta, one whose knowledge is firm and abiding. Sannyas, okay. The word was brought in by the Shankara here because he did not think that one could be a jnani without being a sannyasi. As we proceed, we shall see the Shankara sannyasa is always jnana, nothing else. Further, Krishna said, yeah. So anybody wants to read anything? I'm sorry, I just had some. Uh, if not, we can do
Uh,
thing.
yeah, we can do Manana for till you, I mean, get some relax. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can we
okay.
share our thoughts, please?
Yeah, that would
I
be good.
request everyone to share, please. And if you want to
Uh,
participate, just let us know.
yeah, please share your thoughts, please. Do you want to? I'm trying to see you could uh, open that. So we read about that sloka, right? We can go by that dukkeshu.
You want me to bring that shloka 56, Dr. Mara?
Yeah, that would be nice. Like, so people can go by that sloka, right? Dukkeshu anut vignamanaha, sukeshu vikatas praghaha, vitaraga bayakrodaha, tadir munir. So this in this sloka that how that going back to the previous sloka where Arjuna wants how the wise person behaves. So it is a continuation. So and then how the wise person before he became wise, what the sadhanas he did to become wise. So that is what is being explained here. So basically, that that dukkha has threefold. Even though it is one and the same, there is not different types of dukkha. There is only one dukkha, that is whatever form it comes. So it comes threefold forms with threefold sources, which is the adi adatmika, adi bhautika, adi Daivika. So the Adi, the Atmika is coming from our own, from on our own, like illness, pain, things like that. And then the second one is Adi Bhautika is from people around you, or animals or insects or bite or something like that. And the Adi Bhautika, and then Adi Atmika is um, that from the what do you call that, natural disasters like earthquakes or a storm, rain, floods, and all that other things. So even though they are coming from three sources, they all the one and they all call dukkha. So that one is one form only, and people can have various kind of way to they feel it, like they cry, they moan, they scream, or whatever, different types, but it is only one dukkha. But in the wise person, the dukkha, he doesn't get affected by it because he's complete himself. So he doesn't get affected by it. So that's why you ask a question whether, oh, what if he won't have a head or he wouldn't have a headache? If he gets headache, what he will do? All that. So that answers why I think that question like non-binding. So you're not. He feels the headache, but he doesn't dwell on it. It is there. Okay, it will go away like that. Rather than people keep on thinking, oh, my headaches, my headaches, my headaches, then everything else start aching. So that thought itself causes more problem for not like an ordinary person. But then the wise person doesn't dwell on it and doesn't get affected by it. Mhm. So please go on, and I kind of went to only one uh, Anudvignamana.
Are you
Next is
okay,
the
Dr. Mara? You
dukkha.
will be able to read?
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
seeing it, but I want other people also to share,
Yeah,
unless
so,
you want me
correct.
to go through the whole thing, then it will become. I am going by one, the pada in the sloka, so everybody understands, and then we kind of remember this sloka also, without have to memorize it. We
Yeah,
understand
that's
the
very
meaning
good.
of it, then we really remember the sloka too.
Yeah. दुःखेषु
Anut
अनुविघ्नमना है ना?
manaha, yeah,
दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमना
manaha,
अनु ana udvignamana. Anu udvignamana is not affected, whereas udvignamana, that he is
manaha,
affected. Yeah.
yeah, disturbed
When we
mind.
add
So
ana, so it becomes not affected.
right.
Right. Right.
So for wise person is anudvigna manaha, whereas
Yes.
the udvigna manaha is for that
For
we
the
kind of keep thinking about it. That becomes more of a problem for us. So
yes.
that is really helps us to understand this.
Yeah.
Um, do you
And
guys
then
please everyone share that what there are a few more points also there, like
yeah.
I don't want to get mixed up in here, like fire and all that, right? So
So
if you
it is
put the
Sukheshtu
example,
Vigatas Prahaha, no? Like just like
yeah,
three sources of
Sukeshu
sorrow.
Vigatas Praha, yeah, threefold
Praha.
sources. Same
Yeah.
way, the for
Dukha.
Sukeshu, for Sukha also there is threefold sources. But then people start jumping around because they are so happy about it. And then whereas the wise person is happy himself, is full himself. So these desires, even though he will laugh even for the joke, but then again he's not longing for more and more and more. That longing is not there. So the desire becomes non-binding. So that laughing matter, like you're not wanting to have more of that. So then
This word came, no, anu vivartate.
anuvivat, yeah,
Anu
that's
vivartate. Uh, in this
because
shloka, it wasn't in this shloka, I think, but it was earlier. Anu
no, here
vivartate.
only it came. There is that example of fire they gave, right? The fire, when there is a small the fire, and then if you have like a big gasoline tank,
Gasoline. Yeah.
and then there more fire, right? More big conflagration. So here, that that fire is put out because the desire disappears in the mind. So it's not kind of making it more and more. So you want more kind of things, right? That is not there. That longing is not there. So that's the difference. That's where we want to get. We don't want to have that longing in our mind.
Not longing is
Hmm.
that vikata.
Vigataspraha. Yeah,
Yeah.
vigataspraha.
So can we say that like
Without
if
desire.
one desire is fulfilled, then
Mm,
next will come naturally. It will come like
mm,
now I want this. Then when this is fulfilled again, I want another thing. So
mm-hmm,
in this way, it is like leading. It become a series of my wantings. So it is just like related to that fire which needs more and more of wood so that it keeps on burning.
mm-hmm,
So the so that we have that tushta feeling, that contentment. Then one desire, when it is accomplished, then the next desire, uh, it will not come, or it will not come because of that tushta feeling, that contentment feeling. So once that contentment happens, then the series of desires will not come.
yeah, I
Is it
think
is it in that
whether
way it is explained, or some meaning, or is it meaning something else?
you
I
mean
was
for the
relating it like this.
for
Yeah.
the Sukeshu,
Yeah, this paragraph, when
Anatvikna
you first
Manaha.
light the fire, then it starts with the flame, but uh,
Mm.
w- then it sets when the tank of
Yeah,
gasoline is associated, then it start
there
burning
is
more.
no
So
yearning for Sukha, so he doesn't have that yearning for more Sukha. So he doesn't go out of hand, like not a big fire, like that big explosion kind of thing, right? Um, so that is how that was explained. After that, vita raga krodha, either sukha
yeah,
or dukkha, then you become free of the fear. Sorry, the raga, the desire, bhaya is fear, and krodha anger. Whenever there is raga, there is dvesha too. So the raga dvesha is a pair. So avoiding of that attachment, fear, and anger. So that also they talk about it when you have the duality. How people, like when you have that beda between jiva and the Ishvara, there is always a fear. That
fear.
duality makes it afraid of. So you are between the jiva and Ishvara becomes the jiva and the world, and the individual to individual. So just come down to um, anything other than you becomes a fear. to that person. So so
And
that
similarly,
duality is not there, then for the wise person, whereas it's a Advaita, so he's one and the same, then that feeling becomes, he's not afraid, not having any of those raga dveshas, all of that, the anger, all of that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, just in duality, they also mentioned, no, that
Mm.
you are afraid of yourself, that fear,
Yeah, right.
because there is a
You have
there
split
is
in
split
yourself that.
with ideal I and the actual I.
Mm-hmm.
That also they have explained, like how you basically, that again, that duality comes, that you lack something, and
Mm,
that is your actual I, and then you want to become better, and that is the ideal I. So you
mm,
have that duality within yourself, and then you have that fear, not fear, you can say that insecurity or lackness, or you are judging yourself. You are again separating your ideal I and actual I. And like, there are two different persons now, what you want to be and what you are. So again,
yeah.
there is duality and insecurity there.
Yeah, that happens again. He's talking about that not encouraging yourself. Then when you inquire and you really look into that yourself, then you realize with that knowledge you become that one Advaitic thing happens. With again, that's with the knowledge. Whereas even people get perturbed, I mean, gain some other knowledge from other people, like Dvaita or other principles. It doesn't affect this wise person, because he is already with that knowledge um, is dawned on him. So it doesn't affect in that person. But then people have this Veda, then they have to have that vichara themselves, try to come to that level to understand and gain that knowledge. So that Muni they talked about, right? That Muni, Sita Muni, sorry, what is that? Sita Dir, like steady minded Muni
Yeah.
is saying. So that is that Muni is, he's not like thinking one day is Advaita or another day is Advaita, like that. He's he's free from all notions. Advaita is all that is there, and then he's the knowledge chase that become, he is the Sthita Prajna, the person whose knowledge chase. So that is the final step where the knowledge is steady. So it's not like wavering. Okay, you have this knowledge, but you still not wavered by other things that comes at you. So that is Siddhadir Munir Uchyate. So please, everyone share, and we
Like,
have already 8 o'clock
we've already passed the time.
the
Just a
time.
small little thing is about the karma of a sthita prajna.
Mm,
The example given was that of a fire. The fire
mm,
is there. Without karma, there is no action. But that karma is only enough to create that warmth. It
small,
is
yeah.
not grown up to such a level that will burn the house down. So he does have that need based living, is there. There is no desire based living. It is not want based living, but it is not desire. I mean, want based living, but it is need based living. And he's someone who's so stable, irrespective of adversities or uh, situations that are um, pleasurable. Both of them. In both of them, he remains centered. And he's someone who sees no other. If he feels belong to everyone. That I belong to you is so beautiful there, where there is no other. When there is no other, then there is no fear. What about me? What will happen to me? What will people think about me? All that will settle down because you don't see the others. Yeah. I think we can stop here because it's beyond
And
time.
even we think if we are a part of it, then only again there is a fear. If we are a part of Ishvara.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what. No, he said that is the fundamental thing where it begins. We are not part of Ishvara. We are Ishvara. And then when you have the split personality within you, you'll tend to start blaming yourself, which is again deleterious for your growth. You start looking down upon that non-ideal self. It is all only about recognition, only about awareness, about acceptance.
Mm.
So these lines written no in the initial paragraph, being awake to yourself and in yourself alone, you discover your joy, your fulfillment. And you discover it by yourself, meaning through knowledge. Without self-knowledge, you cannot discover happiness in yourself. So it basically it summarizes the whole. This thing. It is all
The last paragraph,
awareness.
right? Yeah.
No, it just the starting paragraph, which where the verse starts, Arjuna's question in first paragraph.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
yeah,
That's
being awake.
summarized there. Yeah, how you
Yeah,
discover yourself, right?
yeah.
Your desire is fulfilled. You're happy with yourself without fulfilling any desire. Yeah. Okay. Let's say this.
Yeah, and this Prayama too helps us to realize the self, no? It really brings you more and more into getting established into that.
Mhm.
Jai Gurudev.
लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. I don't know, you can see my screen. Can you see my screen okay?
You notice some tension in the body, just
Yes, it's okay.
We cannot hear Dr. Pramra.
Oh, you can't hear it?
total
No,
acceptance of what is now.
no,
Oh,
no. It's there.
oh, you can hear it, right?
Leaders to deeper meditation.
Yeah, very feeble voice.
Okay, do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yourself
Yeah,
Yes,
I
please.
did not
the
hear
way
anything.
you are
Yeah.
at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here. Leaders to deeper meditation. Let go of all Om Shanti Shanti. Let go of all and slowly become aware of body and then
Jai Gurudev. Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Gurudev.